Here we go. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Jensen. I work on planetary defense aspects of solar physics, and I also have a professional engineering license in the state of Texas, specializing in fire protection engineering. And in short, what it means is that I really like difficult, challenging problems. So that's why I am putting this together, is to talk about Lone Star College and to ask for members of the community to consider running for Lone Star College for their Board of Trustees, because there are some significant problems that the school faces, and it's very, very important. So here's what I'm going to do, is quickly give a brief overview of the college, and then I'll go in and list a few problems in some detail, just enough to kind of scratch the surface. Okay, so first of all, the Lone Star College's election is coming up, so if you live in these areas, and I'll include a PDF so that you can see this in full color and know exactly what you're looking at. But we're looking at areas 9, 3, and 4 are up for election this November. The filing deadline is August 18th. And this particular website on the Lone Star College webpage, main page, and I'll link to that as well, is the filing deadline is August 18th, and it costs $200. And if anyone would like to run, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. We'll discuss that more towards the end. So, first of all, Lone Star College. Okay, so Lone Star College, it covers a large, significant area over Harris County and Montgomery County. So here's a picture. The school districts that are part of the system include Aldine, Conroe, Cypress Fairbanks, Humboldt, Klein, Magnolia, New Caney, Splendora, Spring, Tomball, and Willis. There are other ISDs in the service area that are not in district, and those include Cleveland, Huntsville, Montgomery, New Waverly, Tarkington, I hope I pronounced that right, and Waller. And according to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, their unduplicated enrollment numbers for fall of 2013 were around 63,000 students. Now, I'm going to go into some accounting numbers. I'm not an expert in this area. I kind of consider it the toxic byproduct of mathematics and law, but nevertheless, this is really important to get an idea of just exactly how big we're talking and how important the school is economically to our community. So first of all, their net operating expenses are around $286 million. And they increased their net revenue by about $3.4 million over the previous year. So this is in the financial report. I'll link to that. And their capital assets were around $768 million. So that's significantly more than their annual operating revenues, or expenses rather. And then their bonds, their liabilities, were around $590 million. Now, they would have been more if the $500 million bond in May of 2013 had passed, and we'll discuss that a little bit more later on. So let's go into their economic impact report. Very interesting read. So they estimate, the company that they hired to investigate this estimated that the community was served by increasing its income by about $464.4 million a year. And so if you look at what their expenses are, and then you look at what that increase is, that means that the return on the investment was around $1.62 per dollar spent. Well, let's think about that. The stock market is not going to give you anywhere near as good a return. That means that this school, as an economic driver, is incredibly important to our community and its success and ability to compete. So there's other things about social savings. That's shifting people from being in poverty, or like what I like to call subsistence, which means that they're right there on the boundary of one medical condition or one divorce away from poverty. So it enables entire populations to shift from these risky standards of living into solid middle class. So it has that extra benefit there, and the economic impact report estimated that benefit to be around $14.2 million a year. So now that's just in general for providing an advanced education and a specialized one. But now we need to also consider technology. And this is something that is extremely important. If anyone had seen this, how technology is destroying jobs, what it is talking about is that while you invent a new technology, say the computer, you create entire new markets, incredible diversity of markets, and you also increase people's ability to make wages within those new markets, and it's an incredible investment opportunity. However, also with creating that new technology, it has the capability in many cases of eliminating previous old forms of technology. I mean, how many people actually deal with 8-tracks anymore? How many of you even know what I'm talking about when I say 8-tracks? So what happens is that with the community college, people that were working in the new technology, they're going to lose their jobs. Their jobs aren't going to exist anymore. But what they can do is go to the community college, get retrained in a new technology with an opening market, and then find job security again. And so it's an incredibly important leverage point to adapt and be able to compete as everything continues to change and get more advanced. It's I just can't emphasize enough how important Lone Star College is to our community. Okay, so now that I've talked about how important the school is, let's talk about some of the problems and why I'm asking for folks in the community to consider getting involved and running for the Board of Trustees. First of all, let's talk enrollments. I went through several of their financial reports, and let's look at simply fall of 2013 enrollments. In their financial report in 2013, they said that they had 77,621 students enrolled. If you go to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, the unduplicated system enrollment totals actually came in around 63,306. That's a huge difference. And you can go in and look yourself. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about, there are multiple news articles out there. You can just look up Lone Star College and student enrollment, and you'll see 90,000 students. I printed this off from their webpage, just FYI. But I'll also link a couple of news articles in there so that you can see what I'm talking about. That they say they have 85,000 students, they have 90,000 students. And my point is that their financial reports say one number, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board says another number, and then their website and the news say another number. What are the differences? And I've asked this question before in many different forms and different ways, and I have not gotten an answer. And so this is something that needs to be addressed because there is some discussion about another request for a bond to address student growth, to address student enrollment growth. And while that's very important, it needs to be properly justified. And so if they don't have 90,000 students, we need to understand exactly how many students they have and how well they predict what the students are going to be, how well they expect the student population to grow. So let's move on to another topic that's very important, and this is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission lawsuit. Lone Star College is suing the federal government, and the Board of Trustees never voted to go forward with that lawsuit. And there's a story behind why they're suing the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And let's see, the story is that many staff and faculty over at Lone Star College have experienced what they feel to be workplace harassment. And as a result, they've ended up having to get a special prosecutor. The EOC has ended up appointing a special prosecutor, one of 8 in the United States, to investigate Lone Star College based on its complaints. And this is according to Dr. Loomis Price. and he's one of the professors that quit the school as a result. He quit the school as a result of what he felt to be workplace harassment. And I will link to a audio of an example of what they're talking about, but I can just put in a few quotes right here. So their superior was saying things like, you need to wake up and start being a person who is your age. You need to be a big boy and really think about it. You're stupid if you don't agree with me. They've seen you, the monkey in a cage. You wave a toy at them and you jump around, etc., etc. And this is all directly from a recording. So that led to, so that workplace harassment example led to an investigation by an outside counsel. And the outside counsel, after hearing this, came back and said that upon review and analysis of the tape recording, there is no evidence that the conduct was prohibited or harassment. So I will go ahead and scan all those documents and link them a bit later after I link all of these things. But you can get an idea that there have been problems with management over at Lone Star College. And one thing that is a constant through this whole story with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, interestingly enough, is a legal firm called Monty and Ramirez. So Monty and Ramirez was the one that decided that the recording, including those statements like the monkey in the cage, were not harassment. So Monty and Ramirez also reappear again in the lawsuit that Lone Star College filed against the EEOC. Jacob Monty is the lawyer that is representing the system. He comes up again in higher education, which is rather interesting. He was appointed to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board by Governor Perry. So there are layers to this particular story, and it's worth digging a little bit more to understand exactly what's going on and to get a clear idea of how to unravel the whole problem so that there is a respectful work environment, and so that suing the EEOC does not seem like the best idea ever, and it needs somebody to go in and basically come up with ideas to manage to pull the whole system apart, because it's actually going to be rather costly whenever the bill comes in. So why am I doing this presentation? So part of the reason why I'm doing this presentation is because the board is on the verge of enacting a policy to adjust the public comments, and it's action item 1. It appears that they will adjust the public comment section so that if any members of the public would like to come in and make a comment, it has to be with regard to an agenda item. There have been several times that it has taken me time to develop and explain a particular problem, such as what I'm discussing right here. And this is not going to be permissible speech after a while over at Lone Star College, or it appears to be this upcoming Thursday. It will no longer be permissible to do this. So here I am on the web discussing some of these issues. And so here's where I'm asking folks to run for the Board of Trustees. So we have big problems. We don't know exactly how many students are enrolled or why we have the different numbers that are being reported to the news versus the state. We have the problems of suing the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and then all the numerous complaints that have been filed with the Equal Opportunity Commission. And then, but we have a really important school there are more stories. I'm just scratching the surface here. But we have this really important economic driver, a really important school, and it has these problems. And they need somebody in there to be able to deal with it. Now, there is a way to penetrate the bureaucracy. So trustees can find themselves in the place of not being able to exactly understand what is going on, because there's almost a filter. It's hard to really get in and drill into the bureaucracy and figure out exactly what is going on underneath all the final reports and everything that's all packaged pretty before being handed to the Board of Trustees. And one of the mechanisms that can be used to serve that is an internal auditor. So the internal auditor should be reporting to the board, and for a system the size of Lone Star College, there probably should be a lead auditor plus maybe 4 people that actually work for the auditor to cover the entire system, because it is so big. In trying to understand exactly what was going on and find out what was the auditor doing over at Lone Star College, I did some open records requests. Now, I have to say, you have to have a rather arcane sense of humor whenever you're working with Lone Star College. And one of the things that I asked for was the executive summaries of the audit reports for the last 3 years. And after having to define what an executive summary was, they came back and said that there were no reports over the past 3 years. Okay, so then I came back and I said, okay, I would like to have the last. Okay, so no audit reports in the last 3 years. I would just simply like the last 5 audit reports that were completed. And they came back and said, there is no such information. And so finally I said, okay, let's talk audit plans. Auditors, whenever they figure out what they should be looking at every year, they come up with an audit plan and they discuss this with the committee on the Board of Trustees, and everybody figures out, what's really important to understand about the bureaucracy. And apparently there is no audit plan. But now, here's where the fun begins. I did a search, and there's a CPA she's a CPA and a CIA, which is a certified internal auditor. Her name's Miss Donna Jackson. And she lists as being Director of Internal Audit, having left in April of 2013. And among the jobs that she lists of having done is to determine compliance with policies, procedures, and regulations, to make written recommendations to senior administrators on increasing efficiency and or effectiveness, and to perform special investigations as requested by the Chancellor and or Audit Committee that would be on the Board of Trustees, and that she works with all levels of management. That is exactly what an internal auditor should be doing. So this sounds great. However, whenever I asked for any documentation of her work, I got this. Does not exist. So, what's going on? So that's what I would like to say, is that I would like members of the community to consider running for office. And when you go to run for office, this is an incredibly important endeavor. The school is so important to our community. And whenever you have management problems, that's the foundation of your school. That's like the cement that holds the wall together. The wall cannot stand if the cement has been crumbling and flaying and falling apart. And so that's why I would like to welcome and call out to members of the community to consider running. I have run twice, and I would be more than happy to share all the education that I had from my experience and which forms that need to be filled out. There's a $200 filing fee, and a number of other aspects, just simply in doing the paperwork process. Now, I'm non-ideological, so if there's for strategies and approaches and reaching out to people, I know several groups that do that, and I would be more than happy to help you connect with the group that you mesh with best. And so thank you very much for your time, and I welcome meeting all of you who would like to consider coming forward and being a hero at this point in time when we really need you. Thank you.